We are inching closer to something that sounded completely unrealistic just weeks ago: Jon Jones potentially competing at the White House. Not too long ago, Dana White flat out said he didn't trust Jones enough to ever put him in that setting. Because of that, everyone assumed the idea was dead on arrival. But the entire situation flipped overnight. Jones apologized, Dana publicly accepted it, and instantly the entire conversation around Jon shifted. Now the MMA world is split on what Jones should do if this White House fight becomes reality. Some fans want him to face Alex Pereira there, others want him to defend the heavyweight belt instead. And then Chael Sonnen jumped in with his own angle. He says Jones should fight Pereira, but at light heavyweight, not heavyweight. Chael's logic is pretty straightforward. Even though Jones put on size, both he and Pereira walk around at roughly the same weight. If Alex can make the cut, Chael is convinced Jon can make it too. Plus, at 205, there's actually a championship on the line. If you're fighting at such a historic venue, Chael thinks a title fight makes the whole event feel even bigger, and Pereira's light heavyweight belt is the most logical option.
Now, to put Alex Pereira in a fight in the UFC on any card and not put him in the main event, you better have one hell of a good explanation. I mean, you better have one heck of an idea if you're going to put Alex Pereira, a reigning world champion, not at the top of the belt. And quite frankly, if you're fighting him at the White House, the main event needs to be for the belt. If you wanted to make Jon show that he's earnest, you allow him to fight Alex Pereira, and you even let it be for a title, and you even make it the main event. You just make him cut down to 205 pounds. Problem solved. 100% of the problem is solved. And Jon isn't much bigger now than when he was fighting at light heavyweight. Jon walked around about 228, just a little bit south of 230. Completely out of shape. Just when he walked around, that was just as big as his body got. And now that's closer to 240.
Daniel Cormier just dropped two huge nuggets. First, he says the UFC genuinely tried to put together Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. And second, he thinks the fight the UFC must make is Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. And that lines up perfectly with what Spanish media has been reporting, because Ilia is now officially off the table for the UFC's big Paramount debut. Spanish journalist Alvaro Colmenero, who has been extremely accurate with Topuria news, revealed a major change behind the scenes. According to him, the entire roadmap for El Matador has shifted. He said some private issues came up, and whatever happens next at lightweight is going to surprise people. Colmenero said Ilia is not fighting in January. February doesn't look realistic either. He expects a spring return. And with that timeline, the only matchup that makes sense is Arman Tsarukyan, which multiple insiders have already hinted is what the UFC wants, just not at the start of the year. There were even rumors that Ilia might vacate the lightweight title, but nothing solid supports that yet. As of now, everything points toward Topuria versus Tsarukyan still happening, just later than everyone assumed. Bisping and Felder recently broke down the lightweight title picture. Let's get into it.
Paddy wants to shot, Justin wants to shot, Arman wants to shot. The question is, where is Ilia? What is he saying? He has got to respond to these guys. And I know he said a while ago that he would rather vacate than defend against Arman, right? But it's like Ian Garry, and we'll get to him. It's like Ian said on the mic to Islam, you're the champ. You've got an obligation to defend against the best. Yep. What is Ilia's statement at the moment? Where is he? Is he saying he'll take on all these guys?
I think I saw, and I don't know if it was true, that he wants to fight Paddy. And do I think it's the fight that should happen? Do a lot of fans probably think it's the fight that should happen? Nah, it's probably not. Just if we're basing it on merit and really who's in the rankings and who should be fighting, probably not. Do I love it? Yeah, I'll still watch it and I'll absolutely love it. But then you've got to fight Arman. If you beat Paddy, you've got to fight Arman.
A bombshell just dropped from Russian media. Osenbek Badai shared a teaser of his new interview with Arman Tsarukyan, and in that clip, Arman confirms he had a heated run-in with Paddy Pimblett just hours after UFC Qatar. This was during that chaotic post-event period where all the fighters are moving around the same venue, likely the Fighter Hotel, and we know multiple scuffles happened that same night. Arman didn't hold back. He said it never turned physical, but it definitely escalated into a tense argument between the two. All of this happened only hours after Arman submitted Dan Hooker, a win that massively impacts the lightweight title picture. Meanwhile, Paddy seems to be heading toward a fight with Justin Gaethje, especially now that several sources confirm the UFC is mapping out Topuria versus Tsarukyan for the lightweight strap. Arman himself said this is the plan, and that the UFC is not thrilled with Gaethje insisting on a title shot or threatening retirement if he doesn't get it. The lightweight division has been stuck in limbo for months, but these matchups could finally kick everything back into motion. If Arman versus Topuria gets booked and Paddy versus Gaethje comes together, the entire top 5 finally moves again. Now let's go over exactly what Arman said in that new interview.
У тебя были перепалки с Падди Пимблеттом. Этот парень довольно жестко, да, он высказывался в некоторых моментах. Ты сказал, что он, грубо говоря, продукт, там, пиар-машина UFC, он должен быть благодарен организации.
Я должен в эту игру играть. Если я в эту игру играть не буду, люди не будут меня смотреть. Меня вообще ни капли не задевает ничего, кто в интернете что пишет. Меня заденет, если кто-то подойдет и в лицо мне скажет, что ты там такой или сякой. Вот тогда меня заденет. В Англии им нужен человек оттуда. Том Аспинал есть, но нужен второй кто-то, чтобы хедлайнер был. В Америке его любят, он такой шумный парень. Из него пытаются сделать как Конора, но это не Конор. Второго Конора, я не знаю, будет или не будет в это. А кто там в интернете пишет, это просто болтуны, да. А когда вот так за столом или где-то в комнате, меня вот сюда посадите, когда не будет ни людей, никого.
Ian Garry is stirring up the MMA world again, and now he's aiming directly at Islam Makhachev, the new welterweight champion. In a recent interview, Garry said he spotted obvious flaws in Islam's striking at UFC 322. He admitted Islam looked sharp and composed on the feet against Jack, but insisted that if you study the details closely, there are clear openings Garry would capitalize on immediately. He then leaned into full villain mode, reacting to Leon Edwards getting knocked out. Garry said watching Leon's head hit the canvas felt like an early Christmas gift, even joking he should call Prates and thank him for the present. Garry said he wants Dagestan versus Ireland Chapter 3, the first two being Khabib versus Conor, and Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes, and the only way he can avenge Ireland is by taking Islam's belt. He's fully convinced he can do it. Says it won't be easy, but believes his skill set is the one that breaks Islam's streak and brings the title home.
He looked far cleaner on the feet against Jack this fight, and I was very impressed by that. His calmness and his composure on the feet was elite compared to what I've seen. However, there are still holds that you can see. If you watch that fight and you focus on the striking, there's obvious gaps that I will absolutely take advantage of. But when he grabs a hold of your leg, he's the best in the world. He's technically beautiful with his wrestling. He's smart. He's intelligent. He doesn't do silly things or make mistakes. He does the right thing every time. And he's a dangerous submission threat. However, I don't care for any of that. I'm so intelligent. I'm so smart on the feet. I'm so elusive. I'm long. I'm tall. I'm rangy. I'm undefeated against southpaws. So when we face off, he's got to get to my leg. And he's got to be able to catch me when I'm longer and taller than anyone he's ever faced before.
That's all from MMA Time. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for your daily MMA updates.